Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. There are lots of people, I guess, stayed home. It's going to be an intimate. Nice. It will be nice. Thank you for coming. Master now optional. We do ask you to continue to socially distance. Just stay away from each other. Okay? So, right after Toby finished his last concert here, just a few months ago, people started asking me when he was coming back, so I booked him again. This, and you couldn't have anybody better. All right? Please turn off your cell phones, and I introduce you to Toby Walker.
Jumpsuits. So I remember I stopped my car and I'm just watching this, and then I see a guy with a blue uniform and he had a rifle. You know, so he's watching these guys and I'm watching them, and I think this is really great. And this is before cell phones and videos, so I was going to take out my camera when the guy with the rifle leveled it at me and said, you can't take pictures. They're federal prisoners. And meanwhile, his workers is like this. Hey, yeah, man, take a picture. So I don't have a picture, but I want to demonstrate what they were doing. And I'm going to have my sound man, Larry, come on up. So you can't sit down here. I'm here. And his lovely woman, Mary, these two are incredible group musicians. And just stand in the line right here. That's it. Pretend you have a crowbar. Can you picture them in orange jumpsuits? Yeah. Alright, so picture you got your crowbar like this, and I'm actually going to sing this work song. I don't remember what song those guys are singing. Probably something about, you know, escaping or something. But, ready? What's that? No, he's not in this one. You are. Oh, perfect. Come on over here. Yeah.
Fascinating.
No, Mark, you can be the guard.
They can't hear him on YouTube.
I know, because he's not talking in the freaking mic. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Now put your left foot out like this.
Well, you can bring the
crowbar in the hand. Are you ready? This is kind of what I saw, but this is where blues music actually came from. Ready? You're going to just go out like this and then come back to the rhythm. Here we go. All I hate about line and track, these old bars gonna break my back. Say, hey boy,
Hey,
won't you line up? Hey, hey, hey now, won't you line up? Hey now, won't you line up? See these folks go line and track. Moses working on the Red Sea shore, parting those waters with a 2x4. Say, hey now, won't you line up? Hey now,
Hey
won't
now.
you line up? Now, hey now,
Hey
won't you
now.
line up? See these folks go line and track. Well, angels in that little field trying to fix that chariot wheel. Saying, hey now, won't you line? They're really getting into it. Hey now, won't you line? All right, give him a hand. so,
Toby, they need you on the mic because the people are complaining on YouTube, they can't hear you.
we're live or something?
Yeah, we're live now.
Yeah, you know, okay, well,
There you go. Storytelling time. Go ahead, talk.
here we go.
You got it.
We'll have to go get this thing. There's an instrument. Some people used to actually make their own instruments, and what they did was they took a nail, put it in the side of their house, and took another nail and put it down here. And then they would take a rock, they take wire, tie it to the nails, and take a rock and put it in between the wire and the house, and it would tighten that wire. And what they would do is they would strum that one wire and take a piece of pipe and go up and down. So, any volume on this thing? It's coming through. Can you make it louder? About like an AC/DC volume, that would be. So this is a homemade version. It's called the diddly bow. And if I put that against it, there we go. Well, I'll be so glad when the sun goes down. I'll be so glad when the sun goes down. Chop the cotton man, and I'll chop mine. Chop the cotton man, and I'll chop mine. Yeah, and I'll be so glad when the sun goes down. Be so glad when the sun goes down. Thank you. Thanks a whole lot. Let's see, make sure I got my stuff here. There we go. So I'm going to play some stuff on a guitar about this size. This is the size guitar that many of the early blues musicians and country musicians used to use. Very small guitar. I'm going to be doing a song by a guy named Charlie Patton. Charlie Patton was born, we think, between 1881 and 1887. They weren't really keeping good records, some of these workers, on these plantations. Charlie Patton was on the Dockery plantation. Will Dockery was the one that owned the plantation down in Mississippi. Charlie, he had a friend named Willie Brown who worked, but Charlie didn't work on the plantation. He basically just lived with his common law wife, Bertha Lee. And Charlie was one of the only musicians that actually had scheduled gigs. It was kind of strange. This song is called the 34 Blues, and it's about the hardships that a lot of people went through in Mississippi about during the whole Depression era. He's talking about they ran him off of Will Dockery's, actually, because he got into some kind of trouble with another woman. He's talking about how women and children are trying to flag freight trains for a ride. He's even talking about his boss, Carmen, who, an overseer usually would be on a mule with a rifle watching the workers. This guy had a brand new Buick and a Chevrolet as well, and he just used to follow the tractor. That was all he did. That's how he overseen the workers. So this is a song called 34 Blues. Ain't gonna tell you what 34 has done to me. Don't wanna tell you what 34 has done to me. Yes, I was robbed and I was broke as can be. They ran me from Will Dockery's, Willie Brown, I sure want your job. Ran me from Will Dockery's, Willie Brown, I sure want your job. Yet I overheard them say, we don't want Charlie here no more. And my boss got a big 6 Buick, big 6 Chevrolet car. He's got a big 6 Buick, big 6 Chevrolet car. But he don't do nothing except for follow behind Farmer Holloway's plow. So that's old Mississippi blues right there. Thank you. You know, that's the first time I ever performed that song in public. I always loved that song. I was always afraid to play it. But I feel like playing it. I'm going to do this another one that I never put out before. Back in 1926, the Paramount Record Company was putting out what they call race records. And these race records were aimed at African-American population. And they used to record, you know, women singing in front of jazz bands, singing blues, like Mamie Smith and people like that, Bessie Smith. But they never recorded a single man with a single guitar singing. And they decided to take a chance on this one street singer who sang for tips. They called him Blind Lemon Jefferson. And he sang on the streets of Dallas and Fort Worth. Well, what they didn't realize that he was going to be such a recording star. And he just opened the field for everybody else. What's interesting is the fact that on those same very streets he sang for tips, now he had a chauffeur driving him around. So he made some pretty good money, and he was a really good guitar player. So I'm going to do this song. Carl Perkins did a version of it called Matchbox Blues, but this is the way Lemon Jefferson recorded it, probably 1926 or 1927. My baby asked me, would a matchbox hold my clothes? You know, she had the nerve to ask me, would a matchbox hold my clothes? I got so many matches and so far to go. I said, excuse me, mama, who may your manager be? I said, excuse me, mama, who may your manager be? I got so many questions, maybe he can make arrangements for me. Now, I ain't seen my gal in a week and a day. Now, I ain't seen my gal in a week and a day. She been gone so long, makes my heart go astray. Oh, play it, Lemon. I got a gal across town, man, she crochet all the time. I got a gal across town, she crochet all the time. You know, he wasn't really talking about crocheting, right? You keep that up now, you're gonna lose my mind. And if you want your woman, you better pin her to your side. You want your woman, you better pin her to your side. She gonna catch that train and ride. You like that one? Cool. I got lots of toys. I used to have
48, 49 guitars. And then I sold them. This next tune, well, let me give you, I think it was probably around 1928, 29. This man named John Hurt, who came from Mississippi. He was a pretty well-known guitar player in his area of Mississippi, really rural, probably in the eastern part, the hilly part of Mississippi. And somehow a talent agent heard about this guy, and they gave him tickets to go to New York City. And he recorded about a couple of dozen songs. He didn't like New York City very much. He really wanted to go back home, and he went back home. Years later, 1959, 1960, a bunch of college kids in Washington, D.C. are listening to these 78s, these old 78s, and they come across this one song called Avalon Blues. And they're listening to it, and this man named Mississippi John Hurt. And the kid, Tom Hoskins, said, I wonder if he's still alive. And in the song, it gives a hint. John Hurt says, Avalon's my hometown. So, of course, Tom takes out these maps, and he looks at it, and he sees Avalon, little tiny speck in Mississippi. Of course, he doesn't have a car. So he asks this girl that he knew, do you have a car? And she said, yeah, I have a car. I'll go down there with you. And the two of them drove from Washington, D.C., down into Mississippi. They got lost about 37 times, and they found Avalon. And they basically discovered John Hurt was still alive, and he was still playing music for his neighbors and his friends. And not far from that, Hurt actually had a whole new career playing for hundreds and hundreds of white college kids, which basically scared him to death. All right. Here's the interesting thing. Tom's down there, and he's so excited, he asks John, can I use your phone? He had to make a long-distance phone call, and he was going to pay, John. He calls up his friend in Washington, D.C., and he says, I've discovered John Hurt. This is great. This is great. And his friend says, Tom, do you know there's an APB out on you in about 18 states? The police are looking for you. He says, whatever for? He said, well, you're transporting a minor across state lines. He turns to the girl, how old are you? She said she was 16. And you're wanted for stealing a car. He turns to the girl, he says, is this your car? She said, no, it's my father's. So I'm going to play that song, Avalon Blues, for you, just the way John Hurt played it. And you'll hear in the middle of it, he actually makes the guitar sing the words. Going to New York this morning, leaving about 9:30. Going to New York this morning, leave about... I couldn't help from crying. Avalon's my hometown. It's always on my mind. Avalon's my hometown. It's always... the women there, they want me all the time. And when that train left, they were blowing kisses at me. When that train left, they were blowing. They said, come back, Daddy, won't you stay with me? Then John would play it like this. John had a particular style of playing. Listen to my thumb. And then he would play the melody over that. New York's a fine town, but it's just not mine. New York's a fine town, but it's just... Going back to Avalon, I could have women anytime. Thank you. Now we get loud. Actually, we probably don't even have to, mic this thing, but let's. This is called a National Resophonic guitar. These guitars were made in the late 20s and the early 30s. Underneath this little webbing here, there are 3 aluminum speaker cones. And we're not plugged in, so the tension of these strings pushes down on those cones and it resonates. This is a song by a man named Son House. He worked on a plantation. I forgot what the name of the plantation was, but he bragged he could pick a little boll weevil right off the leaf with his tractor. He was a pretty good worker. And of course, he disappeared into obscurity until somebody rediscovered him living in Rochester, New York, working as a train conductor. This song is called the Dry Spell Blues. It's about a drought that engulfed Mississippi. And you're going to hear him singing, there's a lyric called, it puts them on the killing floor. It's a metaphor for if you're so down and you're so depressed, you would find yourself on a killing floor. In other words, that's your place where they used to slaughter the animals. And you'll hear him talk about the boll weevil. And the boll weevil used to devastate the cotton fields, but even the boll weevil couldn't put up with this drought. Yes, it's a dry spell. Drives me from door to door. You know that dry spell drives me from door to door. It's so bad, puts folks right on the killing floor. I went in my backyard, I didn't see nothing green. My backyard, I didn't see nothing green. You know that dry spell killed everything I seen. Chops, 45 cents a pound. Cotton is only 10. Pork chop is 45 cents a pound. Cotton is only 10. I can't keep any women. Can't keep any of them. Toes and he died. Yeah, that old boll weevil curled up his toes and he died. There ain't nothing to do but to make moonshine and ride. Thank you so much. Do an arrangement that I did of Shortening Bread. You know, Shortening Bread, Shortening Bread, you know the tune, right? We're all the same age. Close to it. And in the middle of the song, I'm going to imitate a chicken running around the yard. Okay, you're going to hear this guitar actually imitate a chicken. So here we go. shortening. Mama, little baby loves shortening bread. Mama, little baby loves shortening, shortening. Mama, little baby loves shortening bread. 3 little children laying in bed. 2 were sick, the other half dead. Sent for the doctor, doctor said, give those children shortening bread. Children laying in bed heard about that shortening bread. They jumped up, started to sing, do a little dance called the chicken wing, little chicken running around the yard. Yeah, and I get in the kitchen, pull up the lid, see my mom make shortening bread. That's not all she gonna do. She gonna make that cocoa too. I'll make that cocoa. Shortening bread, winked at the pretty girl and said, would you like a piece of my shortening bread? Mama, little baby, mama, little baby, mama, little baby, love shortening bread. Thank you. I'm going to take out this guy. This guitar is from 1930, and it's a different sounding steel guitar. And a lot of the musicians that recorded in the early 30s, they were influenced not just by blues, but they were also influenced by the jazz bands that went through the area. Jazz was really coming of age in the 30s. You had bands like Fletcher Henderson and Bix Beiderbecke, King Oliver, and these musicians, these guitar players used to listen to that. I'm going to do this song that was actually covered by a rock guitarist named Jorma Kaukonen of Hot Tuna. He made this song pretty popular, and everybody else wanted to figure out who wrote it, and they found out it was a guy named Fulton Allen out of North Carolina, better known as Blind Boy Fuller. So it's called Keep On Truckin' Mama. Yet I got a gal in this town, best looking brown around. I got a gal in this town, she's the best looking brown around. She got long brown hair, ruby red lips, drives me wild when she's shaking her hips. Keep on trucking, mama, trucking my blues away, trucking my blues away, yeah. Keep on trucking, baby, truck your daddy's blues away. Keep on trucking, mama, truck your daddy's blues away. I got a gal, she's little and neat, and when she trucks it sure is sweet. Keep on trucking, mama, trucking my blues away, trucking my blues away. Here we go. on chugging, mama, baby. Chug your daddy's blues away. Chug it away. Yeah, I got a gal, she's long and tall, sleeps in the kitchen and her feet are in the hall. Keep on chugging, mama. Chug your daddy's blues away. Yeah, I'm gonna rumble right now. Chugging, mama, chug your daddy's blues away. Chug your daddy's blues away. You make a deaf man hear and a blind man see, and it sure get good when she chugging with me. Keep on chugging, mama, chug your daddy's blues away. Chug your daddy's blues away. Oh, chug daddy's blues away. Ain't that a fun tune? Did I do something wrong? Let's see, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. The song is called The Catman Blues. Not necessarily about a cat. Listen carefully. Last night I heard a noise. I asked my baby, what was that? I came home late last night. I heard a noise. I asked my little honey, what was that? She said, don't be so suspicious. It was nothing but a cat. Now I've been all around the world and I've been taking all kinds of shame. I've been all around the world, taking all kinds of shame. But that's the first time I ever heard of a cat wearing a pair of pants. Yeah, and I wouldn't call him a cat man if he come around during the day. But he come around at night, he tries to steal my little cream away. Oh, how do you do that? Last night, baby, and I was as quiet as a lamb. I was tippy-toeing across the floor. I was as quiet as a lamb. I didn't get suspicious until I heard my back door slam. Now you got Garfield and you got Felix the cat. When you start talking about big time, I get suspicious of that. I've been all around the world, taking all kinds of change. That's the first time I ever heard of a cat wearing a pair of pants. Having a good time? I'm glad. All right, I'm going to try this one. This is a real, I knew I did something wrong. What did I do?
Just get this out of the way so you better just see.
Ah, okay, that's good. I'm used to that. I have OCD too. All right, this is going to be a real finger buster here. People in the front row, you don't have yours on. You're going to need safety glasses in case these metal finger picks come flying out at you. All right, this is my own arrangement of Sweet Georgia Brown. Thanks a whole lot. That coffee I had at McDonald's really kicks in now. All right, so I want to tell you about a man that I had wanted to see. Oh, wait a minute, I can't do that. I got to get in the camera. I got to stay in the camera. Is
Yeah,
that?
that would be a good idea.
Oh, well, you can follow him.
Well, tell you what.
How about if I stand right there by that camera?
Tell you
Oh, wait,
what.
wait, wait. I'll get
No,
him. I'll get
we're
him.
good. We're good.
We're good?
We're good.
Wait.
No.
No. They won't hear. No, people are going to call up and complain.
I can do it sitting down. I can do the whole thing sitting down.
But they can't hear. Okay.
So, I wanted to find a man named Jack Owens. Jack Owens was about 83 years old in Bentonia, Mississippi, and my friend, all he had was the phone number. And he said, Jack's giving guitar lessons. I said, that's just great. I really want to take a guitar lesson from him. So I called him up. I lived in Huntington at the time. And I called him up, and it's like, Mr. Owens, my name's Toby Walker from New York. I'd like to come down and take a guitar lesson. Yeah, okay, come on down. So I drive 4 or 5 days to Bentonia, Mississippi, and I figured when I get down there, I'd call him up from the local store or someplace. Usually the way I would do this, I was going around and I would ask in local barbershops, a place like this, but I got down there and there was, if you Google Bentonia, there's only about 6 streets. but he lived in the hills somewhere. I figured I'd get into town, and there was this place called Toby's Foods. It was the local version of ShopRite. Doesn't look anything like ShopRite. All right. Matter of fact, you can go on my website, you put Toby Walker, Jack Owens, you'll see pictures of all this stuff. Anyway, I get in there and I get on the payphone. Now, I tell this story to middle school kids, 14 years old, and they all know what a payphone is. Okay, they've never used one like we all have. But I had to go in there to get directions from Jack on the payphone. This is what the directions sounded like listening to a man who was about 83 years old with a thick Mississippian accent. Jack? Yeah, it's Toby. Toby Walker. I called from New York. I called about a guitar lesson. Yes, that's me. I'm in the grocery store here in town. How do I get to your house from here? Yeah, way back your car. Go down the street down, make a left, you see the shade tree. Excuse me? You keep on going down and go see the old church in the middle of the yard. You're gonna make a mad. See the child, you're gonna fork around that. You take that left there fork. Left fork? What? And you're gonna keep on down the road. You've seen the old dead tree down, the old dead tree. And from there, you're gonna take 7 looks down the road. Don't get lost. Click. You can't make this stuff up, all right? So I'm standing there with the phone in my hand, 5 days, I'm driving down there. The owner of the store, his name was Toby too, he said, yeah, I understand you're looking for that old sharecropper guitar player, Jack, right? I said, yeah. You play guitar, you're coming to take a guitar lesson, right? I said, yeah. Nobody understands him on the phone. Now, I'll tell you how to get there. Is that your brown car parked out front? Yes, it is. All right, and we walk out to the car, right? He says, all right, you see way at the end of the street there's a shade tree. And I'm like, yeah. You get to the shade tree, make a left, drive out of town. Fine. Now you're gonna keep on going. We grow a lot of soybeans in this part of Mississippi, and you're gonna see these soybean fields. And then in the middle of this one field is an old abandoned church. Now behind that church, the road forks, take the left. And I'm writing this down. Okay, left. What now? Go down that road, quite a bit. We got catfish ponds, we raise catfish here. You go down that road, you're gonna see a dead tree in the middle of the field. There's thousands of dead trees in fields around here. What are you talking about? No, this tree is dead, and nothing grows near it. It's all by itself, like it's not no business being in that field. Nothing even grows near that field. All right, got it. Dead tree in a field. Now what? Go 7 looks down that road, and Jack will find you. Good. 7 what? 7 looks. What's a look? Well, you get to the tree. Look down the road as far as you can see and drive to that point. That's your first look. You do that 6 more times and Jack will find you. You see, we didn't have GPS back then, nothing like that. And road maps, forget that this is in the backcountry. So I'm driving, I see the shade tree, right there from the store, and I make the left, I'm driving, and I'm thinking I'm gonna really get lost. And then I see this old abandoned wooden building in the middle of a field. I said, that's gotta be it. And the road curved, sure enough, behind it, it took the fork. I take that left fork, and I'm driving, and thinking, there's trees and fields and dead trees falling down and everything, and literally, I don't know how many miles out of town, there's this dead grass field and a big dead tree in the middle of it. I've got pictures of all this stuff on the website. And I'm saying 7 looks, right. I look down the road, I took a picture of this too, it's like forever. I drive to that point. Now the road's kind of curving. I drive to that point. Then the road I remember it was curving and swirling all over the place and going around these little tiny ponds and everything. I'm up to like number 128 at this point. I am lost. I was lost for hours. I kept getting out of my car, I got out of my car, I don't know, the third or fourth time, and that's when I heard, "Hey! Hey!" And I look, and it's this little guy standing by a gate down the dirt road. And I'm like, "Hey, are you Toby?" Yeah, it's Jack. "Yeah, you Jack? Yeah! Pull your car over here." So I go down the dirt road and I pull up near his house, right? He's the only house for, I don't know how far away everything else is. And I get down there and I get out. He's standing on his porch. He had his white pants on, white shirt, black suspenders, little black baseball hat. And he says this, "So what do you want?" I said, "Well, I came here from New York. Remember we talked about a guitar lesson?" He goes, oh, you want me to teach you how I play?" Like, "Yeah." "Well, I can't do that." "Why can't you do that?" "Well, my fingers are all cramped up. They won't move. I'm an old man. I'm sorry." And I'm thinking, I just drove 5 days, 7 frickin' looks. And then he says, he goes, "Now, last week, neighbor came by here, wanted me to chop some weeds by his house." I said, "I can't do that. My hand's all frozen up. I got arthritis, you know." Now, he gave me $100 and some whiskey, and my hand got better real quick. I paid everybody anyway. I was just laughing at this guy. I said, "This is going to make a great story." I said, "Hold on." And I went into my car and I opened up the back trunk. I had video equipment, cameras, I was taking copious notes, had notebooks, and I had a bottle of whiskey, which I used only for research purposes here. And he's back on his porch, and I pour it in his cup, and he goes like this. He goes, "Shh. I still got the cramps, Mr. Toby." It's like, right. And I take out like 5 crisp $20 bills. I put it in front of him. You know, he takes it and he puts it in his pocket. And, "Yeah, okay, I can show you some songs." And he did, and I'm going to play you one of the songs. One of the songs is called "Hard Times Here and Everywhere I Go." Now, this song was recorded by his neighbor, Skip James. Skip James was discovered in the 60s and was a big star. Matter of fact, Eric Clapton and the band Cream did the song "I'm So Glad," which is a Skip James song. So Skip James had a lot of juice when he was discovered, and nobody discovered Jack until God knows how long. But Jack, he would tune his guitar in a certain way. An open minor chord, and this was very, very predominant in Bentonia, the Bentonia area. All the guitar players tune their guitar like this. And you'll hear that term "killing floor" again in this song. It's hard times here and everywhere I go. It's hard times here and everywhere I go. Hard times here and everywhere I go. Hard times here and everywhere I go. And the people are moving from door to door. They can't get no help, I don't care who they are. Hard times here and everywhere I go. Hard times here and everywhere I go. to get off this old killing floor. I swear I'll never get this low no more. Hard times here and everywhere I go. 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 Thank you. Now there's a little finger pick, how to play finger picking guitar. I picked this book up, I think it was about 15 years old. And there was a picture of this woman in there called Etta Baker from Morganton, North Carolina. And I think between that time period, I called up information to find out if there was an Etta Baker in Morganton, North Carolina. And usually you get those automated, you get the automated voice back then, And I swear I dialed the information, I think it was 411 back then, and I said, North Carolina. And I hear on the other end, yeah? I'm looking for a woman named Etta Baker. Well, she's not home right now. She's at her sister's. I'm like, okay. I'd like to. Well, I'll just hook you up. Hold on. And she connects me with Etta's sister. And the sister gets on the phone, and I explain who I am, and I wanted to come down and take guitar lessons from Etta Baker. And she said, sure, and at least I had an address at this point. And I drove down into North Carolina. And Etta Baker is the sweetest woman you ever want to meet. She has this soft little lilt to her voice, and just very, very sweet woman. And she has all these herbs growing all around her house. And she takes me out, and she's showing me all these herbs. And this one's good for that, and that one's good for this, and that one's good if you have a cold or a virus or a fever. That one's really good for that. I said, really? And she says, yes, it is. You just take that, dry it out, you make it into a tea, and you add a lot of whiskey. And I knew she had a garden. She had this beautiful garden in her backyard, and she had an empty toaster. She took out all the works and she was hanging it, and that's where she put the bird feed for the birds. And she had this, so we go out in there and we're picking carrots and cucumbers and some other stuff. I brought the Jack LaLanne Centrifugal Force juicer with me. And we set it up on a table in the middle of the kitchen. And she's like, whoa, look at that. And I said, yeah. She's like, oh, my Lord, my Lord. And we're taking carrots and ramming them in there, and the juice is coming out. She never saw anything like that. So we get that cup kind of full. It's a hot day, and the outside of that glass is a little sweaty. I go to hand it to her, and I drop it. It slips out of my hand, Didn't break or anything. It's a wooden floor, so we cleaned it all up, and I made her another one, and I gave it to her. And she just loved it. And I'm going to play a song that she taught me. It's an instrumental called the One Dime Blues. Now, the thing was, if you could play along a song like this, you were considered a real good guitar player. You were one-diming it. So this is the way she showed me this one. a sweet little tune. Several years later, I found out she has fans all over the world, okay? Etta Baker, and there's pictures of her on the website too, littletobywalker.com, and then go Learning from the Masters, and you can go to all of these people and see them. You'll see Etta posing in front of her house, the toaster and everything. Anyway, I called her up because I found out she was in hospital for something, you know, so I called up and I got connected to the hospital and they gave me right to her room. And I said, Etta, I don't know if you remember me, I'm Toby Walker. I came down and take some guitar lessons. She says, you're the boy that dropped all that vegetable juice on the kitchen floor. All right, let's get into some shuffle Chicago style. I used to go downtown to buy my booze, but I was so broke there was just nothing to choose. But now my baby owns a whiskey store. My brand new baby owns a whiskey store. My brand new baby owns a whiskey store, and I don't have to buy it no more. My situation used to be mighty tough. Now I no longer have to pay for my stuff because my baby owns a whiskey store. My brand new baby owns a whiskey store. My brand new baby owns a whiskey store, and I don't have to buy it no more. I used to be broke, raggedy too. Now my baby dresses me in alligator shoes. My baby owns a whiskey store. My brand new baby owns a whiskey store. Brand new baby owns a whiskey store, and I don't have to buy it no more. I just may wreck my health. I can't stop drinking from her fountain of wealth. My brand new baby owns a whiskey store. Brand new baby owns a whiskey store. My brand new baby owns a whiskey store, and I don't have to buy it no more. Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to thank Larry Moser for doing an incredible job on the sound. And his gal, Mary, over there helping him. These two are phenomenal musicians. If you want to hire them, just go up and say something, because they do incredible roots, a lot of Irish music and folk music. And
We play here in March on St. Patrick's Day.
they're going to be playing in St. Patrick's Day. I want everybody to dress like he is in green, okay? They're wonderful. Larry Moser, Mary Nagan, and they're just incredible musicians. You need to see them. All right, and I want to thank everybody for coming out. I'm really happy, when people come out to see me. I'm usually surprised, but I'm also very happy. And I'll tell you why I'm happy. I mean, if nobody was here, I wouldn't be happy, okay? So I'm glad everyone's here. I'm going to do a song. I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to turn this guitar into a freight train, a fast freight train. So you're going to hear, you know what a driver is? Not the engineer. A driver is the big iron wheels in the side of the locomotive. They're called drivers. They would drive that train. And I gotta bring a song back I wrote a long time ago. I actually rode a freight train. I'm not kidding. I was stranded, me and my buddy were stranded in Yuma, Arizona. Anyone from Yuma, Arizona? Good, we could talk very freely about Yuma, Arizona. You don't want to live in Yuma, Arizona. There's nothing there, okay? There's a freight yard, and that's it. And I remember we were hitchhiking, me and my friend. We hitchhiked across the country a few times, actually. And we were stuck in Yuma. No one was picking us up, nobody. And my friend said, well, there's a freight yard over there. And I said, yeah. Well, why don't we hop a freight train? And I said, what are you, Woody Guthrie? People don't do that these days. You know, well, no, come on. You know, and he was crazier than I am, and I am certified. Okay, so they think I'm lying. So we went into this freight yard, and there was freight trains all over the place, and they were just standing there. And I'm like, well, what are we gonna, we don't even know where we're going, we don't even know what we're doing. And this old guy comes out, I swear this old man came out, and he said, you two boys don't know what you're doing, are you? I said, no, we don't. It turns out he was giving us an education on riding trains. Seems like this guy did it all the time. He says, you don't want that one's a slow boat. That one's just gonna stop and stop and stop. What you want is you want that express one over there. That's the one, that'll take you straight into San Diego. I said, really, when does it leave? He goes, it's gonna be leaving soon. So we actually got on this flatbed car, and we rode it all night long. And it stopped in a couple of fields, but we actually made it into San Diego. Of course, San Diego was like 5 miles away where the freight train stopped, but it was just a cool experience. So I wrote this tune called Ride That Train. I'm gonna end the program with this. I'm gonna imitate a bell ringing, imitate the whistle blowing, and all kinds of things. And then maybe we'll go down to New Orleans at the end, okay? So here we go. Oh, this little technique was taught to me by a guy named R.L. Burnside out of Holly Springs, Mississippi. I'm gonna ride on that train, take it as far as it'll go. Gonna ride on that train, take it as far as it'll go. From the winter fields of Canada to the southern Gulf of Mexico. I'll get that engineer who's gonna ring the bell. Blow the whistle. And the driver's on the side of the train. that train from the winter fields of Canada to the southern Gulf of Mexico. I'm gonna go to New Orleans now. Ride that train.
Thank you, everybody.